It's a type of music that is sped up and you have to dance to it. They play at the clubs.
Americans are usually pretty quick to recognize and proclaim their own creations. However, in the 30 years since the electronic music genre of techno was born in Detroit, Michigan, the world has become completely devoid of its actual meaning to Americans, and now is simply an incorrect buzzword for any kind of electronic music that contains a danceable beat. Do you think you would have to go to London or Amsterdam to experience an event like this? Believe it or not, this footage was taken just minutes from Ohio State's campus at the Bureau of Music and Art in downtown Columbus. Electronic dance music, or EDM for short, has strong roots in the United States, and although now it can only claim a small niche underground scene, the United States can lay claim to the invention and creation of many EDM genres that are now worldwide phenomenons in parts of the globe that aren't North America. Any music professor or enthusiast would be quick to tell you that the United States is responsible for blessing the rest of the world with jazz, hip-hop, and rock and roll. However, much less recognized is the birth of disco in the 60s and 70s, which laid the foundation for the creation of house music in Chicago and the birth of techno in Detroit. These pioneering styles became immensely popular in Europe beginning in the late 80s and early 90s, eventually evolving to jungle and also one of the most commercially successful genres of music in the world, trance. From there, electronic dance music has evolved into a plethora of genres, subgenres, and categories. But let's just focus on the big four. The main thing these three have in common is that they use a 4 on the floor beat, meaning there is 4 beats to measure. This is house. It's soulful and funky, and is usually around 135 beats per minute. Notice the clap effect on every other beat. That is the easiest way to tell house from all of the music. The figurative child of disco, house music has influenced and had success in American pop music for over 20 years. Does the basic beat sound familiar? Cascada, Daft Punk, and Hathaway, all those and many more fall under house. This is trance. Seldom superstar DJs perform in the United States, but when they do, they're usually trance DJs. It's a very emotional type of music, focused around the build-up, release, and breakdown over the course of the track, and often makes you feel like you're flying through the cosmos. Hear the digga-digga bass line and the spacey sounding synth melodies? Hearing trance live in a crowded club can be a borderline spiritual experience. A lot of popular American artists are starting to use trance melodies in their music, such as the new 3 6 Mafia song. Jungle, also called drum and bass. Notice how there is not a steady 4/4 drum pattern like the other genres. This drum pattern is called a breakbeat, and is the same musical element that hip-hop was founded on. A lot of music heard on the soundtracks of action movies is closely related to jungle. Straight out of Detroit, this is what techno actually is. If it has a 4/4 beat like house and trance, and it sounds like machines working rhythmically in a factory using only drum patterns as a melody, it's techno. The kicker about the general public calling all different types of music techno is that the United States is hardly ever exposed to the actual music, unlike the other genres that get at least the occasional playtime in movies, radio, and TV. This music might sound foreign to you, or it might not. You may like what you've heard, or you may not. Either way, it's important to recognize that EDM has played a very important part in shaping and influencing the history and direction of mainstream music. It's fine that the music in general isn't as popular in America as it is elsewhere, but there truly is a genre of electronic music for everybody out there to enjoy. People just don't know where or how to look, or simply dismiss an immeasurable amount of music based on very small sample sizes. Austrian writer Vicky Baum once said, "There are shortcuts to happiness, and dancing is one of them." There isn't a thing in this world that can cleanse a stressful mind on a Friday night like going to the club with your best friends and forgetting about everything with music for 3 hours. Many would be quick to attest they would absolutely never want to set foot in a club or rave, but I've taken a considerable amount of indifferent friends to shows and now many of them listen to EDM more than I do. Local music is an enriching spice to city life, and more often than not, it's a lot cheaper than most mainstream rock and hip-hop shows. The shows are often much more personal and memorable than standing in the nosebleeds at an arena event, and you're infinitely more likely to make new friendships with the DJs and fellow fans than at a festival gig. A lot of electronic music is our creation, and at the very least, it deserves our recognition and appreciation of its widespread influence on mainstream music and society.